So you want to make your house more energy efficient. First thing that probably pops into your head is new windows, right? I mean, it's the classic move. But what if I told you that just swapping out your windows isn't just not enough? It could actually make your home less comfortable. Yeah, seriously. Let's dig into that. So that's the big question, isn't it? Are new windows really the silver bullet for an energy-efficient home? I mean, companies spend a fortune telling us they are. But are we missing something? Is there a bigger picture here? You bet there is. And to get to the bottom of this, we're going to look at this really fascinating study. It took place in Liege, Belgium, and they looked at these beautiful historic homes. We're talking pre-1945. And the answers they found, well, they're not what you'd expect. Honestly, this might completely change the way you think about keeping your house warm. All right, first up, let's talk about what's really at the heart of this, the renovation myth. Okay, so take a look at these numbers. They really paint a picture. A huge 60% of these old homes had new insulated windows put in. It was by far the most common upgrade, probably because of government rebates and all that. But, and this is a huge but, get this, over 80% of the walls had zero insulation, and half of the roofs, same story, totally uninsulated. So what does that actually mean for the people living there? Well, the result of this windows-only strategy was that the average home was burning through 348 kilowatt hours per square meter every year for heating. To give you some context, that is a wild number. It's 70% higher than the European Union average. So, yeah, the energy problem here was absolutely massive. And here's where the real mystery begins. Even with all that money spent on fancy new windows, people weren't seeing it on their energy bills. The savings just weren't there. Worse still, they were often just as uncomfortable as before. So all the promises of a cozy, cheap-to-heat home? Nope. And that's the puzzle we're going to unpack. To figure this out, the researchers got into the nitty-gritty. They monitored these houses all year round, and what they found was this crazy paradox, a real tale of two seasons. All right, check this out. This graph shows what was happening during the winter. You see those crazy peaks and valleys? As soon as the heating clicked off for the night, boom, the temperature in the living room would just plummet. It's like the house was just bleeding heat. And that rapid heat loss had a real impact. For hours and hours, especially overnight, the bedrooms would drop below 15 degrees Celsius. That's less than 60 Fahrenheit. We're talking properly cold, like see your breath cold. The living rooms were a bit warmer, sure, but let's be honest, these were not comfortable homes in the winter. Okay, so cold and drafty in the winter, no big surprise there, right? Makes sense. But here's the kicker. When spring rolled around and things started to warm up, a completely different problem popped up. The exact opposite, in fact. So let's put this side by side because it's wild. The exact same issue, those uninsulated walls and roof that made the house an icebox in the winter, turned it into an oven in the spring. You see, the bedrooms, especially upstairs, would just get baked by the sun coming through those big new windows. And with no insulation to stop it, the heat had nowhere to go. Temperatures would shoot up to 28 Celsius, that's over 82 Fahrenheit. So the one fix ended up creating two completely opposite problems. So you gotta wonder, how did people actually live like this? Well, that brings us to what we could call the human thermostat, all the little things people did just to get by. The researchers saw people constantly taking these adaptive actions. You know what that means? It means putting on more clothes. We're talking sweaters indoors. It means plugging in little space heaters to try and fight off the cold in one corner of the room. Sometimes they just give up on a room entirely and huddle together in whatever part of the house was warmest. And this bit of data is so telling. So clo value, that's basically a scientific way of saying how warm your clothes are. A high clo means you're wearing a big, thick sweater. And just look at this graph. Even when the thermostat in the room said it was a comfortable temperature, say 20 degrees Celsius, people were still wearing heavy clothes. The thermostat might say one thing, but their bodies were telling a completely different story. And that's the key right there. All these things, the sweaters, the heaters, they were just symptoms of a much bigger problem. Like the study says, if you see portable heaters everywhere, that's a huge clue that the heating is totally uneven. People were basically putting band-aids on the problem, trying to fix their house one cold spot at a time. Which brings us, finally, to the real root of the problem. What you could call an unbalanced house. Okay,
The best way to wrap your head around this is with an analogy. Picture this. It's freezing outside, a total blizzard. You put on the absolute best, warmest, most high-tech winter hat you can find. But that's it. No coat, no gloves, you're just wearing a t-shirt. Sure, your head is toasty warm, but the rest of you is freezing. That's exactly what was happening with these houses. And to really get this, there's a key concept we need to know: the building envelope. It sounds technical, but it's simple. It's everything that separates you from the outside world. Your walls, your roof, your floors, and yes, your windows, the whole shebang. And the crucial thing is, it all has to work together as a team. So, here's the flawed logic they were following, broken down. Step 1, install amazing new windows. Check. Step 2, completely ignore the paper-thin, uninsulated walls. Step 3, forget all about the roof that's leaking heat like a sieve. And what do you get? You get a totally unbalanced system, one that's basically designed to make you uncomfortable and waste your money.
There's actually a scientific name for this feeling. It's called radiant temperature asymmetry. But you already know what this feels like. Ever been in a room where the thermostat says it's warm, but you sit next to a big, cold wall or window and you just feel a chill? That's it. Your body is literally radiating its heat towards that cold surface. That's why you feel cold. And that's exactly why those people in Belgium were wearing sweaters inside. So, okay, if doing things one piece at a time is the wrong way, what's the right way? Well, it all comes down to an integrated solution. And honestly, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. A house is not a collection of separate parts. It is a single integrated system. You can't fix one piece and expect everything to be perfect. You can't just wear the warm hat and forget the coat. Everything has to work in harmony. So the right way to do it is to think about the whole house. You have to look at the entire building envelope. The idea is to get everything in balance. The walls, the roof, the windows, all of it. And hey, while you're at it, maybe look at the heating system too. The goal isn't just to patch a leak here or there. It's about making the whole house comfortable and efficient from top to bottom. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you feel that draft, or you notice that one room is always freezing while another is boiling hot, don't just point the finger at the windows. Ask yourself a bigger question. Is my house working together as one balanced system? Because the answer to that question, well, it might just change everything.